Good evening, RPG Little Break. Welcome to the next match of the Highway to the Zemus Zone. I am Tirasu, and your commentators tonight will be Simbu and Bakashinobi. I hope y'all enjoy the race, and I'm going to turn it over to them.
Good evening, and welcome to our Highway to the Zemus Zone race tonight. How are you doing tonight, Simbu?
I'm doing pretty good. Looking forward to a really good match, and it looks like we got an Edward start. I'm really excited now.
Maybe we'll see some jet seeds and some vaunted Edward strats today.
I would love to see that because I think a few of these people have not practiced their Edward strats.
I am so glad I'm not there because I am definitely one of them. But what these races are, we have Keddril, this is his fourth match. He's currently sitting at 5 points, so if he wants to go and get into the round of 16, he needs a first place and a bit of luck on that front. Meanwhile, we have wewbear, who's on the other end of the spectrum, who has 11 points after 3 matches. No matter how he places, he'll get in, but he might be trying to get for a captain spot tonight. We have poidrac, who is at 3 matches, 6 points, so he really wants that first place to be in a good shot for those play-in races. And khobahi is at 2 matches with 7 points, so a last place will put him into a bit of a scramble for his final race, and a first place will put him into a very comfortable position.
Yeah, definitely everyone really wants to win for different reasons, but some of these people, wewbear, he doesn't have any pressure on him, so that honestly makes him pretty dangerous. I know that a lot of people have been talking about you need to play your own race instead of trying to metagame yourself. So looks like we got an Edward and Porum start, so pretty slow to begin with, an Earth Crystal if people want to get more characters, but it's going to be a really interesting start here.
Yeah, I expect people will be going and looking for elven bows, dancing daggers. A heroine rope would go and make Porum a bit better. That and a power staff.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways to approach this depending on what items the seed decides to give you.
Not to mention if they have a nice character on Hobbs, I guess Sid would probably be a rather nice pickup, as he's got some good early game power that these other characters are lacking. And Porum wouldn't,
I was going to say, that we all want to see either the DKC or the Tella.
I was going to hope for another Edward.
That wouldn't go amiss either, but looks like we got Rydia guarded by Ashura. Ashura in that spot, probably going to get one shot later, not that difficult. We got coffins for sale, so definitely already some interesting things that could be thrown for us in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and with the poison axe in Rose's mother's house, that's a fair bit of money. And a samurai bow in the water, I don't think a lot of people are going to check that, and that's a pretty good weapon for this party at the moment.
Yeah, Porum definitely would need that extra 10 strength, especially going against some of the rougher bosses. I also see a Mute Dagger and poidrac going for all the valuable loot. I already saw some pretty nice stuff from him, so there's a heroine robe, so got some really nice gear for our runners right now.
Yeah, poidrac's sitting in a pretty nice spot considering all that treasury. That's depending on who goes there, that may go and give poidrac a bit of an edge in the start.
Yeah, it looks like keddril is going that way. Khobahi's also already full looting miss, so I assume he's in loot mode, as is wewbear. Pretty common when you get a low power team like this to just go loot a ton of stuff and then see if money will solve all your problems.
Are you implying that there's ever a time that money won't solve problems?
I am implying if you have an Excal Cecil, you might not need money to solve your problems.
Yeah, very fair point. I don't think Cecil is going to stop no matter how much money you give him.
But yeah, we're just cleaning up our standardized checks here. We see a cane on khobahi's screen, so that'll be interesting if we find a sand ruby later, but mostly we're just waiting until people feel confident to either check hobs for a person to go with all the rune axes that we've been finding, or if we're going to dive antlion for the key item.
Yeah, maybe all they ask for is someone to go and carry them on hobs. The poidrac continued to go and loot mist even after finding that heroin robe. He definitely must want... The heroin robe's nice, but he probably feels like he wants a little bit more.
I see everyone checking the weapon shop, so I think they're all looking for a dancing dagger. I don't think it's necessary. Like, part of me says I'm going to go to Hobbs and at least see if there's a Sid or a Kane up there, because then I can stop checking for a dancing dagger.
Yeah, though maybe they're looking for arrows, seeing as they're going to, if they do find a Sid, he can go and make good use of those arrows as well. Meat arrows are a great item to find. They'll take care of that. They'll definitely take care of that Ashura in one shot, but still takes time to go and do all this looting. But everyone very consistently clearing Mist, Troya Treasury, and Baron before going anywhere. And keddril's going to be our first check into Damcyan.
I think I might have seen Medusa arrows on someone's stream, which is good enough to back row glitch people. But yeah, just basically everyone's going to power up their inventory right now and hope that it pays off.
Yeah, and with a heroin robe in the Troya Treasury and a power staff found in Damcyan Treasury, Orm's looking like she's ready to go and get bonking.
Yeah, this is a pretty elementary start. Like, you've got heroin robe, you got power staff. It's time to bonk stuff.
Orm showing off her not so white mage colors.
Let's see what keddril decides to do here. I really want to use the Hobbs check, and it looks like we're getting the Hobbs check, so we'll finally find out who's sitting up here after he does his equipment swapping.
Yep, probably going and sending up his back row glitch, getting Orm ready to go and just beat people to death with a staff. And to answer a question in chat, Free Enterprise. Free Enterprise is an open world randomizer where you begin the game with 2 random characters, a key item, and the airship, where you can freely fly around the world on the Enterprise.
Yeah, it's really nice being able to start with the airship. It really changes the flow of the game, and for some reason it honestly works really well in this game, because you've got just 3 technically subdivided sections where it just works out really well. And we see Sid up here, but is that just a water hag guarding him? So I imagine everyone's going to be taking this Sid.
Yeah, that other blue robe fight, the gauntlet would be a much harder question of, do I keep Sid or do I just save the 2 or 3 minutes it takes to go through this fight? But Khobahi, we see, is going into Antlion before checking Hobbs, probably feeling that his form is in a good enough position to go and take out whatever comes his way, and he's sending up a back row glitch for himself, it looks like.
Actually, a lot of people are keeping the samurai bow and lit arrows on their forum. Technically, the power staff is better, but I mean, either way, you're going to be doing damage.
Yeah, I can see people maybe wanting to just focus on that because they've got them, they don't really like the power staff, or they just don't want to go and deal with that. But I agree, the power staff has better accuracy than samurai bow and arrow, so it would probably do more consistent damage. And we see a Kanaizo in the Antlion spot. Not terribly rude, but this party doesn't have a lot of health to go and survive taking out many of these waves, but
it's okay. Kanaizo here only has 1k HP at max, and that means only 40 damage, so even if they took a wave, it was fine. This is the least scary Kanaizo you will ever see. everyone's going to be thankful that they saw it here. And we get a pink tail. Not what anyone's looking for, but okay.
Yeah, that'll go and get turned in for a random key item, or random high tier item, as we have the no adamants flag, which means no adamant armor for turning that in today. It's kind of a devalue check now. We'll probably just see it if someone goes and gets rat tail and then checks it.
Yeah, it's maybe something, but as Paranoia is pointing out in chat, that we might get a ninja shirt, which is obviously the best item in the game, in the fact that pretty much always you would prefer having Edge's default equipment to the ninja shirt, unless you're having him dodge tank everything.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in a lot of how these fights go, you don't really need to worry too much about defense. You just want to worry about offense and taking things down before they hurt you. Though, if you really want to go and see how good that ninja shirt can be, play solo Edge and get one of those, and you'll see Behemoths do maybe 300 damage to you.
Or maybe you get unlucky with dodging and then they do a full 2,000 damage to you. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent piece of equipment. It's just, you've got Blink, so why bother taking 300 damage when you could take 0 damage? White Mage is OP. And we see a Baigen. I wonder if anyone's going to use the big bomb I saw earlier to take this out. I see a Zeus Rage too. Like, there's several good options for taking care of this fight quickly.
Yeah, and looks like keddril is opting to use that. The Lit Bolt with Sid would also do a fair amount of damage as well. But we see Khobahi picking up his Sid from Hobbs. wewbear, I believe, is an Antlion. Poidrac is heading down into the Antlion fight. keddril, I believe, is skipped Antlion Cave for the moment. To answer the question, yes, there have been certain items restored. That J flag, JIA, means that we've included J items and J abilities. No J spells, because it gets a little annoying having Rydia learn Nuke at level 55 instead of 50, and Rosa learn White at a similar level. But you will see spell abilities you didn't normally see on the Super Nintendo version, such as Bluff and Brace, and a few others.
And we have a hook on keddril screen, so everyone's least favorite thing in the game is maybe coming to fruition. We'll have to see if this is actually a forced hook seed, or if the game is just messing with us and saying, oh, we're going to make you think you have a hook seed, but now we're going to give you the magma key.
Though if they put magma key behind a, say, Golbez, back attack gauntlet, wyvern, or deals, it might still be faster just to go and power through whatever boss is in the hook route.
Yeah, if you get a free boss down there like King and Queen in the Ruby spot, you can get through there very quickly. We see Sirens over here in Silvera, so that'll be nice for people if they... I don't think you need to grind on ordeals, but it's an option. More likely they're going to save those for when they get underground for a very quick 34,000 EXP from eggs.
Yeah, I probably want to go crack a few of those, get ready to go and tackle Dwarf Castle and grab a few more or check for another character to see if you can get someone a little bit more potent than Sid, Porum, and Edward.
Anyway, who are you rooting for the boss in the hook spot?
Pogo, because I have gone and dealt with him so many times, I want to see someone else suffer.
I can appreciate that sentiment. We do have a Porum, but Porum doesn't learn any really good spells, so yeah, Ogopogo would be nice. Evil Wall would also be pretty good because this team does not have a lot of DPS. If they get a Ribbon, though, the Edward can cheese it. It would just take forever to cheese.
Yeah, and Evil Wall, that stiff DPS check before getting to Crush Raise, you might be able to go and anchor one of your characters well enough to survive it, but it would definitely be a brutal grind of a fight. Meanwhile, we see wewbear is going and tackling the Baron in to try and go and get that baby Rydia, taking care of the Asura in the Baron guard spot quickly, and meeting Octomam, everyone's favorite smiling floor octopus.
Yeah, not really dangerous in this spot because it's so slow to start with and it gets slower every time you hit it 3 times. So this octopus is a very, very slow octopus.
I mean, how hard can you go and move through floors? He's probably struggling with that as well.
That's a fair point, but get him in the wrong spot and he'll hit you pretty hard.
Indeed, and we are rewarded with a spoon from defeating Octomam. No hopes of getting a magma key here. Rydia will be pickup. She's not really going to do a lot for now, as she doesn't learn a lot of great spells until either you complete Dwarf Castle or you get her up about 25 levels or so.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see once some of these other runners clear out Baron in if they decide to go up Ordeals or Zot, or if they decide to just make the play and go straight underground to see what the boss is. It's kind of difficult with the Zot play on because there's always a chance of getting a food that will trivialize almost any hook boss, but it's just going to be interesting to see how much people are willing to take the gamble.
Yeah, it is a 1 key item check and 2 characters, and with the characters you have right now, that might sound pretty appealing, as I would not want to go into a hook route with relying on Porum, Sid, and Edward. Rydia is going to be dead weight for a while, I feel.
Yeah, Rydia doesn't learn Virus until something like level 26, and I do see a self-summon, which can help through a lot of bosses, but again, she just takes a little while to get online compared to someone like Palom, who's obviously the superior Black Mage by quite a bit.
Yeah, not everyone can go and learn Quake at level 23. That's definitely a huge advantage for Palom, though. Rydia struggles to go and keep up in pretty much every regard to Palom as well, with low HP growth, low wisdom growth, and just learning her spells a bit slower. We see on Ordeals, Khobahi is scaling, and we are finding a Rubicant in the Mylon spot. Not the worst fight, but these Fire 2 counters might be pretty painful.
Yeah, Ruby counters every time you physically attack him with a Fire 2, so and he's also going to cast Glare here in a second and probably wipe out one of Khobahi's party members, but otherwise he's not that dangerous. You can pretty well control when he's going to cast spells, and down goes Edward.
That only, 6.5 times, 7.5 times his maximum health and damage. It's clearly just a small thing for Edward to shrug off. He just needs to get a bit tougher about it.
Life potions are kind of overpowered. You can take like 10 times your HP and damage and then just get right back up as if nothing happened.
Well, I don't think Khobahi has life potions. I only see one in his inventory, and he had Porm cast that life spell to bring up Edward. Meanwhile, we see that Poidrac and keddril have both finished their Baron infights and are doing a little bit more exploring, and keddril is finding those life potions we mentioned and exits, which choosing not to buy. I guess he figures Porum's going to learn it soon enough.
I wonder if Khobahi also got Starvels, because if there's a back attack Wyvern or a Golbez in the next spot, he could be in a lot of trouble without Starvels. That's fairly common that I recommend people to fully check all the shops before going up Ordeals, just because of the chances of getting a bad boss.
Yeah, that it's really painful to go and have to come up here, clear the first boss, and then just get kicked out because you have no hope of clearing Golbez, who's just nuking each party member with every cast, or Wyvern, who's just nuking you before you can do anything.
And to answer a question in chat, what's wrong with Khobahi's names? We've added an ability in the randomizer to customize names at the beginning of every seed, and along with that, we have a flag you can set at the beginning of the game called Silly, which will put a pretty randomized name in so that it just swaps a few of the letters, so it can get some pretty silly results. And we get a very free boss here for Khobahi. Shouldn't be any problem. He's got a rune axe, so going to be doing lots of damage to these cards.
And he has an hourglass. Meanwhile, we saw one of our racers went to Mount Hobbs after getting ready to check the free summon, and we saw that it was Sylphs. The Hobbs flag goes and adds, instead of learning Fire 1, she'll learn a random summon, which is a much more useful spell to go and have, and Sylph is a pretty good summon to have.
Yeah, I know everyone's gotten a Tiara as well, so Tiara plus Sylph is pretty decent early game damage. We're just gonna see what Khobahi gets here from making this trek up ordeals. And he gets the Baron key, so he's not immediately. And then he's got to fight the gauntlet for it. So, value, but not value.
Yeah, Khobahi is known for loving Cecil, so I imagine he's going to go and keep this anyways. Also, a slight correction from chat: a random summon that is not Leviathan or Bahamut. That's a little too much a little too generous for us. Meanwhile, wewbear climbing Za is finding Odin in the first slot. This is going to be a bit of a DPS race because I don't think he's going to survive that Odin cast.
I think his Sid might survive. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he came up here this early. He's got a Zeus Rage. He's got this. There's not really the Zeus Rage is going to do over 2,000 damage. So he should have this just fine.
And his Sylph Summon is doing a respectable 1,200 damage, so should be pretty okay, I agree.
I just hope for his sake that he doesn't find Vanilla Valvalis, because that might teach him for coming up here this early.
That would definitely not be a very fun fight for him. Unless he finds a Kane here, then he might go and be okay with it. And we see poidrac looting Eblan Castle. He might be thinking, I don't like this team, I want to get a bit of extra experience on it, and maybe I can find some really good things here. But it is going to take him some time.
This is a play you don't see a lot of top runners make. Maybe he's playing a little bit of desperation mode here, trying to find something that's going to crack the seed wide open. But I mean, it's EXP and it's potentially a extremely good item. I just feel like there's other stuff you could be doing right now.
I agree. Clearing ordeals or clearing Zot would definitely go and get him more. Speaking of clearing Zot, it looks like that wewbear has successfully finished that Odin fight and is moving on to see who the characters in Zot are and who the second boss is going to be. Ooh. And Edge is in Zot. That's certainly a good pickup. He's not allowed to go and be in one of the first 4 slots of the 2 starting characters, Hobbs and Baron Inn, but afterwards it's free game, and he comes with good equipment, and he can use some pretty nice stuff as well.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen anything spectacular for him yet, but we're also getting an extra Sid, so I definitely can't complain about an Edge. I mean, I don't know if I still want to take this party to the hook yet, but I'm not going to complain either.
And choosing not to go and take the second Sid and instead keeping that Edward. We see him going and equipping him and getting. He has a Thunderclaw, which if he had. We've already killed 2 bosses who are that Thunderclaw would make good use against, but still not a terrible item. And the Mute Dagger will go and help with other mage type bosses.
Actually, now looking at wewbear's inventory, I kind of like this play even better because we have a spoon and we have a longsword and a mute dagger, so that edge is actually pretty decently equipped right now. He's going to be doing a fair chunk of damage, especially on this elements fight. We're going to get to see the quad damage from the mute dagger on the ruby portion of the fight.
Yeah, that's not something you get to see very often, as you either don't see that phase for very long, or you get murdered before you get to that phase.
Of course, this Sylph Summon might push him over even beforehand, but if not, then rip. No quad damage from the mute dagger today.
That's a shame. We see keddril is in his gauntlet fight and the top of ordeals. Khobahi finishing up Baronin, getting his spoon. And we see poidrac going into Eblin Cave. He might just be diving this hook route early.
Yeah, I guess he took the EXP and decided, I'm going to gamble that there's nothing of value up and just go for it. As we mentioned at the start of the match, this is desperation mode for poidrac. He really needs a win to be comfortable here, so making the risky plays, and if something good happens, it might pay off for him. Everyone else has so far not found value.
And he finds a Moonveil in there, so that's definitely something that can help him get through one of these tough fights. Moonveil goes and casts Reflect on the person who used it and applies the barrier status, which makes them nigh invincible. Its attacks will just not connect with that character, so it's a very big item to have for one fight.
I am concerned for poidrac though, because we have a Baron key and now a Tower key found from our other checks on the Earth, so even these Mega Sisters aren't going to be that bad, but he might end up not finding part of his go mode with all of this key item density.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a bit of a gamble for him. He's also getting a Porum, who is not a big power pickup, so his main damage is going to be if he's found mute arrows, a person with the samurai bow and mute arrows, and Sid with the rune axe against these Mega Sisters who they're not going to hit too hard, and their spells might not be that mean, but it's not going to be a very fun fight for poidrac, I feel.
Yeah, but he's probably going to kill the Mad Ogres and get another, if he life glitches them up to 17,000 HP or EXP, maybe sling that other Porum up to Berserk levels. And I don't know if he has a curse ring that would be really nice for this fight, but theoretically this shouldn't be too bad. Sid, especially with the Dragoon armor, if he has any of it, should be able to tank this fight really well.
True. Meanwhile, we see khobahi and keddril both in Baron. Khobahi finishing the first Baron boss, and wewbear choosing not to go up ordeals and get that Baron key, and instead following poidrac down through the hook route with a bit more powerful team. I think he's going to really enjoy having an edge with a Mute Knight.
Yeah, the edge with his extra agility and stuff is going to be really, really helpful in this upcoming fight.
Another item of note, looks like that khobahi recently picked up a rune ring, which, in addition to giving some good caster stats for anyone wearing it, it also goes and reduces the damage taken by mage-type enemies, which the Mega Sisters are, by doubling your defense against them, effectively. Only works on the physical attacks, but it's still a good pickup. And keddril showing that the first Baron boss is the Calbrena dolls, and the second boss fight here are the Kaipo soldiers, so not terribly hard Baron fights. If this rewards you as something, this will put poidrac and wewbear a bit behind.
Peasants mentioning the fact that we have a spoon, that could be really helpful against these Mega Sisters. You could dart the spoon into the middle sister and then zerk them, and I think this would be an incredibly fast fight.
Very true. That's a very good point. That's I don't think these Mega Sisters are going to be a very big roadblock for wewbear. They might be a bit bigger for poidrac, but I believe he just finished his Mad Ogre fight and has gotten his team powered up a bit more.
And we see a foo for Khobahi, so already the Baron Key is paying off in dividends. If he gets Quake, that's going to take care of the Mega Sisters quickly. Maybe even Meteor could pretty much one-shot them. But if he gets any more value out of this, I really feel bad for wewbear and poidrac.
Yeah, though, if Khobahi decides to skip Earth and Tower Key turns out to be something that could go and be bad for Khobahi, that's his, it's really going to come down to what he gets out of this pot.
And we spot a Mom Bomb at King and Queen. This hits hard and fast, so you're going to have to be a little strategic about approaching the fight, but I'm sure poidrac and wewbear should be able to get through this in 1 or 2 attempts.
And they do have a Moonveil in the event of they just want to go and use it as a freebie, because Bomb is only going to go punch him physically until she summons her bombs, and if you can go and get your health high enough and throw an hourglass, it should be pretty free after that.
Yeah, just have to make sure to throw the hourglass, otherwise the explosion's going to get you, which that's something for poidrac to note. He can't just berserk whoever he moonveils. That would be quite tragic.
Very true. Meanwhile, we see Khobahi going to the Odin spot and finding a moon boss there. That moon boss being Ogopogo. I don't know if he's going. Yes, he's resetting out of this fight. Definitely not leveled up enough to go and take out Ogopogo, even with a foo. Because Ogopogo, in addition to doing big waves and punching hard, is going to go and counter any magic attack with Blaze and take off even more of your health. This is not a fight you want to do with casters.
Yeah, the nope grope says no, but good for checking that spot. I mean, it could have been King and Queen, so it's nice to at least know the boss is there and know when you can come back and kill it.
Oh yeah, and Khobahi is choosing to go up Zot as well, so he is going to be rewarded with an edge and that tower key as well soon. Keddril looks like he was going to Zot and then decided to double back and grab his hovercraft. I think he's going to choose to either drop off his hovercraft and go underground, or drop off his hovercraft and then check Zot. And looks like he is going underground.
It looks like wewbear has his party set up to take down this Mom Bomb. Shouldn't be very long left, and poidrac taking another attempt at it. I'm pretty certain if he gets even decent luck, he should be able to get through this as well.
Yeah, the big question I have is, we see that wewbear picked up illusions. Did poidrac pick up illusions? Because I think that's going to be the biggest difference between the two fights.
He certainly isn't using any right now, but might be a little bit too soon to call it.
Also, that edge is just doing almost 1,000 damage every swing. That's this spot only has about 6,000 HP, so it doesn't take long, and we see the Mom Bomb transform into her exploding form. This is it's looking pretty good for wewbear.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there waiting to cast his hourglass, so this fight's over. And we also see poidrac getting through just fine, so they're going to be pretty neck and neck, but wewbear's a heavy favorite going into the Mega Sisters fight.
Yeah, and wewbear is just one full check ahead, having completed Earth Tower, to poidrac completing Eblin Castle instead, and not necessarily being that much better off for it.
Yeah, I would say it was a slight gamble for wewbear to go up that early because there's a couple nasty bosses that could have been rough in the Assure or the Mega Sister spot, but overall, it's paid off for him, and he's got a pretty decent lead over at least poidrac. Keddril, however, is probably going to catch up to both of them pretty quickly.
Yeah, Fu is going to be a very big help in this seed with lots of great spells. We'll see how he goes and approaches this. He's going and getting a bit of extra experience and is just getting ready to do his life glitches. Meanwhile, Khobahi is picking up his ninja, getting rid of Edward, and getting rid of Rydia and taking a second sit instead. I guess he just wants to go and have berserkers in his party.
But yeah, it looks like everyone's soon going to be going down this hook route. What interests me is the fact that Keddril and poidrac do not have the tower key. So that might create the biggest divergence in our runners. Khobahi will have his tower key, so I know a lot of people have been calling for value in tower so far, so I'm wondering if maybe we don't get value in tower, if that gives a huge advantage to Keddril and poidrac.
Yeah, I know. I'd be tempted to go and do that tower right away after I spawn right there, and I'm a little biased, and I like having the Enterprise over the Falcon. Make sure I don't go and accidentally park it somewhere and have to go and shuffle around airships later.
Well, the good news for at least, well, for everyone who does Earth Crystal, to get the tower key, you're going to already have the Earth Crystal done, so you won't have to worry about that.
True, but you will have to go and shuffle around if you get the hook and the rat tail, or if you find a rat tail and need to go and check that rat tail turn in.
Yeah, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's right there next to the hovercraft.
Yeah, but I'm incredibly lazy.
That's a pretty good reason.
We see wewbear
Anyway,
as
I saw the 4.5 thousand damage too. This Cindy is dead.
that is those are some very dead Magus sisters. Also, wow. Looks like they're actually at the same level despite poidrac having done Eblin Castle for extra experience. Seems like it's about the same to wewbear having done Earth.
I mean, that makes sense because just the Mega Sister spot alone is 9,000 EXP, and then you throw in the Valhalla spot too. That seems about the same as the 3 Ogre's Chest life glitched.
I thought poidrac had cleared all of Eblin Castle. If he just done that one, had just done that one fight, that makes a lot of sense to me. And we see that Keddril's in the fight, and Khobahi is heading into Dam Siam because he never went and picked up his hovercraft, but he is first going and taking a dip into the watery pass and hopes to go and find maybe some odd boss or to go and get 3 spells on Fu. Nope, he's just looking for Demist. Because in these flags, Demist can have a key item, and that key item could be the magma key, which would save you a fair amount of time going underground.
I feel a little bit bad for Khobahi here because he's been making a lot of safe plays, and he's not really getting. I mean, the Fu is a bit of a payoff, but I don't see a ton of payoff for him here yet. I feel like he might be playing a little bit too safe.
Very true, though. He might be able to go and make up some time if he can perhaps get underground and go straight to Feymarch and take out those bosses while his opponents are not quite as ready for those fights.
Even on that front, I feel like Keddril is more likely to be able to do that because Keddril doesn't have the tower key. to pull him away.
Very true. That tower keep from Za is probably going to be calling Khobahi there very strongly.
To answer a question in chat, Khobahi is at a point where if he loses this race, he's in a very bad spot. He would need a win in the next race, 100%. But if he wins this race, then he obviously gets in no matter what.
Yeah, I think if Khobahi takes the last place, he can still go. He would need a first to go and be very safe, but even a second or even a third in his next race could potentially get him in through playoff races, but he would definitely want to get points here rather than that next race, I feel.
And on the other end, you have keddril and poidrac, who are both playing extremely safe, and wewbear, who has absolutely nothing to lose. Like, wewbear is already in. He's just playing for being a captain or not. So it's going to be pretty interesting. As I said, I mean, Khobahi's playing safe. I just don't know if safe is what he needs right now.
True. He's I guess it's really going to come down to how much value he gets from that tower key and if there's some value at that Odin spot. Because those two things could go and give him a big swing in his standings, with keddril and poidrac both skipping Zot and being pretty tempted to just not go to tower, as keyless tower is not everyone's favorite play.
Yeah, poidrac's really in an interesting spot because he doesn't have the incentive to go off and get rabbit holed in a few places. We see wewbear finding the Luca key, so pretty easy check for most of our runners to at least see. We also have a demist not showing up yet, so maybe someone will forget to check if demist is there.
That would be a painful check and not one that I'd wish on people, though I would most certainly have made that myself in the past, as if you see nothing in Luca that's already a lot of time spent there, you don't want to spend more time seeing who the boss is if you're not thinking about it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Khobahi, who's already checking for Demas, probably wouldn't fall for that trap, but some of the other people just haven't been worried about it this race, so we'll definitely have to see how it goes. But wewbear is going to give us our check of the Famar bosses. We've seen there's our demist, and there's also a CPU, and I don't think I would want to do either of those right now.
Yeah, both those fights look disgusting to me. CPU is a very long, slow slog that you can't berserk fighters for, and Demus is another long, slow slog that you can't berserk fighters for. I hate both of them. I think wewbear's going to go straight up tower because it's 2 checks. He can go and make value out of it, and we're going to see what he's going to find there.
Yeah, I'm actually curious what poidrac would do after this as well. Like, he's going to see these, and his party's even less equipped for doing it, so I would say maybe even just say no and go to Dwarf Castle, and then do Sheila or Tower, depending on how I feel.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Dwarf Castle is the play for poidrac after seeing these bosses. They're both miserable, and I wouldn't wish doing either of them with this party. Or wish either boss with this party on either or any of our racers.
Chat's pointing out how much food would help for this fight, but honestly, I think the edge is even more important. As Peasants pointed out, the spoon is on the table. This would be a nice time to save Scum some spoon throws. Poidrac going for that CPU fight, that's gonna take a while.
Yeah, this fight it's not dangerous because Mazer does very predictable HP based damage, but it is going to be slow. He does have Sylph that will go and do damage to the CPU, but it is going to be 1,000 damage at a time, and CPU has almost 30,000 HP.
It's not 30,000 HP. Uh, it's only, I think it. We'll see when the defender uses remedy. Yeah, it's only
Okay, only
19,000.
definitely nowhere near as bad as I was making it out to be, but still not something I want to go through. That's they're still having trouble. The rest of the party is trying to get that defender node down and not making a lot of progress on that. This is still going to be quite slow for this party. Meanwhile, keddril is through his Mega Sisters fight. Khobahi is in that fight and is probably going to tear it to shreds. And wewbear is finding Valvalis at the top of tower. We'll see how this fight goes for him.
I mean, it's not awful, but it's still just so slow because the Luge spot is so fast, and even if its stats aren't that impressive, it's like, Val just makes everything worse.
True, but throw goes through, so maybe he can toss that spoon for a good chunk of damage and then carry on from there.
Yeah, but you've already seen 2 other bosses you want to put the spoon on. It's like, it's really hard. It's like the spoon could have so much save scum value in this seed.
Yeah, I expect we'll see some runners save it for the moon and just take off about 10,000 health from any boss up there and reset if they don't get anything good.
Which is why you should be doing it now. Like, honestly, I feel like some people play a little bit too safe. wewbear showing that Sylph does hit Valvalis here. Luge spot doesn't have much magic defense, but Edge and his other party members are not doing that much damage. So, yeah, this would definitely be a place I would want to save Scum Spoon through. But, I mean, it's hard to say that you're not going to need it later.
Yeah, doing 159 damage with an attack from Edge, who was doing 1,000 damage earlier, that is not pleasant. And poidrac is still grinding through that fight slowly and surely. Meanwhile, khobahi finally threw last one into the underground, but probably has the strongest team and is ready to go and start destroying everything. And he, ironically, khobahi, the person with the best party, is the first person to go to Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting play, but I definitely don't hate it. He might just be here for shopping, but I mean, I would not count out a kill the bosses play right now.
Yeah, he has Nukon Fu, who's at 1900 HP, having recovered all of his spells and all of his HP, so he's going to be able to blow up whatever is there. Finding tents, not even finding cabins yet, but buying tents because he hasn't found cabins. That is unfortunate, but definitely a good play.
Thought I saw him just use a cabin. Maybe it was one that he looted. But anyway, we also see keddril deciding to go for this CPU fight. I wonder what strats he's going to use, because you can use float strats, but I don't know. Honestly, I've had such horrible luck with float strats that I consider them basically a desperation option. I never get the float to land on the attacker.
I also don't have great luck with that, and with how long it takes to go and kill this defender node for this party, I don't know if keddril's going to have a lot of great luck either. Ooh, and he's casting float before the defender node is down. That's another target that float can hit that is not the one you want.
I mean, theoretically, it's the same percentage because you have a 1/3 chance that it'll hit the first time, and then you have a 50% chance that it hits the right one the next time. It works out to be the same math.
I fear if it goes, you have a 1/3 chance to hit the CPU the first time, and then 1/2 chance to hit it if it misses the attacker node the second time, to be a bit worse. Then you're still just spending turns, not getting the doing really much of any damage. And we find the first boss in Dwarf Castle is King and Queen Evelyn. A free fight, as they'll just cast some very weak fire 2s, and then they'll go and off themselves because they are not terribly pleased. And we see the character from Dwarf Castle is Cecil. He is going to be an upgrade over that Sid. That is for certain.
And Keddril's reflected full strats did fell, so rip.
I would not blame Keddril for just resending out of this fight because he is not doing great damage to that CPU, and it is going to be a very slow fight if he doesn't.
Reflect nukes. All reflective spells hit CPU, right?
Only when you don't want them to. And speaking of nukes, Khobahi deciding he doesn't want to listen to Dark Knight Cecil today. He wants to get through this faster, so he goes and has Fu cast nuke on him, and Dark Knight Cecil does not give us a speech on justice. And Rivers pointing out that this has been a very long Val fight for wewbear, and he is finally through. That is definitely... I think wewbear's Val fight took about as long as poidrac's CPU fight, and neither of them are something I would consider very fast.
Yeah, I think poidrac sorted his as wewbear was walking up the tower, but Bahama is nice. I just don't know if it was worth that much time spent. Like, this is where I would have saved Scum a Spoon and be resetting out.
I can't disagree. That's something. Meanwhile, poidrac is getting Excalibur from CPU. If he goes to Dwarf Castle, he'll have a very nice weapon for Cecil. Warping out because he does not want to deal with Zemus. I don't blame him. That fight would be even longer and would probably turn him into paste.
He does have a Moonbell, though. If he had a Fu, then it wouldn't be that bad, but man, yeah, 35 or 37,000 HP. Yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah, and with that food, you'd probably want some Ether 2s to go and recover your mana, because I don't think you're getting through Demist in that spot with just 3 nukes. And Keddril is going into Dwarf Castle, finding those the free fight of King Queen Evelyn. wewbear is exiting the tower, getting his reward from the tower key that he did. The tower key fight that he did before he even got to the top of the tower on his way up. Khobahi going in, scrambling an egg to get his Cecil leveled up, and poidrac going to Dwarf Castle to get a Cecil. And I just missed what that item was, so if someone could remind me, I would appreciate that. Ooh, Tower had a sand ruby. That gets wewbear closer to 10 key items. It's definitely not the worst thing for him, but he's going straight to Dwarf Castle. And that might go and get him a bit further. And the Adamant is from Dwarf Castle, so all of our runners was coincidentally in a very nice place for them, as they'll get a Cecil and one part of the crystal. Because this is V1, you need both the Adamant and the Legend Sword to give to Coco Smith to forge a crystal.
Yeah, so technically we're at 50% a go mode for Khobahi, because we still need either the Pass or the Darkness Crystal and the Legend Sword, so getting a little bit closer, but honestly all the advantage that people had by getting underground before Khobahi is shrinking up very quickly.
Yeah, Khobahi is going to be going and destroying the seed pretty thoroughly, I feel, as he is an extraordinarily powerful party. He is going to be, if he kills that CPU, he will have an extraordinarily powerful Cecil, and he will be ready to just flex on the seed with his mighty power.
So if you're in Khobahi's shoes, do you take on that CPU or that Demist yet, or do you nope out like everyone else has?
That is... I would be more inclined to save Scum. I would go leave a save here and check Luka Key first, I think. It's definitely, you're going to see this key item much faster than it's going to take you to go and finish that boss fight. You'll know whether or not it's darkness or some other important key item. And if it's nothing, then you kind of know, well, he'll still have tower to do, which we know will yield to nothing, but it'll make that question a bit easier, I feel.
Yeah, I think I might actually like to save scum these fights as well, because I'm pretty sure you could just spoon and Meteo to kill CPU, and at the same time, Demus with a spoon and 3 nukes is almost dead.
True. That Demus has 2 ways to go and give you value in the form of what it gives you directly and being the fight at the end, or going back to Miss Village and seeing what it has for you. So this is not as, I don't feel it's as easy of save scumming in my opinion, though it would still be important. And he is going for that, he's trying it and he's getting punched a lot, resetting out.
Yeah. Demus says no, and Khobahi is probably going to say goodbye, or he's going to save scum the CPU spot.
I don't think so. I think he's going back. If he still has that moon veil he does still have a moon veil, but he's looking for illusions instead. What he could do if you want to be extra cheesy is bring all of his party down to critical HP, or leave his party at normal HP, put the moon veil on Cecil, let them die, revive them, and then when they come back at critical HP, just be immune to that damage.
That would be a really nice strat for this location. So we'll have to see how it goes. I do like his chances if he can get a moon veil up on Cecil.
Yeah, that looks like he's opting to use illusions instead, which definitely safer, but I feel like that moon veil would go and just be the faster play. No need to go and keep applying anything. You just let everyone else go and be safe behind the wall that is Cecil.
Yeah, I know personally I am horrible at actually remembering to use Cecil strats. I always forget that you can actually do that.
You're what we like to call honest, apparently. I am not. Meanwhile, we see that poidrac has gone, checked Sylphs, talked to Yang in the underground, and is going to be heading back to the overworld, and I think he's going to go and see what Sheila 1 has for him today.
I wonder if khobahi actually, it seems like he's just going for regular nuke strats, but I don't know if he has enough, if he has ethers or elixirs to actually be able to wear down all this HP. I mean, Demus has a lot of HP, and this might be a whiffed nuke.
I think he chose not to cast nuke, and he does have the option of just having Fusoya hard cast Psych to steal MP from Aurum and Cecil, so maybe he'll choose to do that. And
yeah, I guess that's fine.
And keddril is diving sealed cave to see what's in there. This is going to be interesting to see if this is where value lies.
I'm hoping for a pan guarded by Golbez.
Well, I'm glad to see you hate the runners today. I'm hoping for Darkness Crystal guarded by Evil Wall, because that's not as evil.
I think you're being very nice to these runners. They need more pain and suffering. That hook route was not nearly as bad as it was supposed to be.
Yeah, no, apparently we've been keeping all the hard hook route seeds for the 4 Hopen players who are seeing these matches and thinking, oh, this looks kind of fun, and then they're going and getting things like Ogopogo and Kanizo at Ruby, and getting murdered, unfortunately.
We're sorry, newbies.
Yes, we would really rather have us deal with these, well, okay, not us directly, these runners deal with the seeds. We'd like to see them suffer. We'd rather not see you suffer.
Tarasu knows where it's at. Come on, go as an evil wall. We all want to see it.
There's our darkness crystal.
crystal. Are we going to be half and half?
I'll take half and half.
Rip.
Shame. This fight is not going to take very long because he'll punch twice, kick twice, and then he'll go and have a script that next time Cecil hits him, he'll just say, ouch.
So, moonbait or no moonbait?
This is kind of hard because unless Sheila 1 goes and gave us a pan, or this Demist or CPU gives us a pan, there's not really many places to check except for that Odin spot that Khobahi's seen and chose not to go and fight because it was Ogopogo. I think Moon might have the other half of this crystal today.
Possibly. I mean, this Demus has a lot of potential value sitting behind it. I don't know. Someone trying to remind me of my statistics, trying to say that Moon has something 76% of the time, and yeah, I think it's actually 74, but either way.
It is, what, 7 out of 26 checks that can hold the Adamant and Legend Sword.
Something like that, but I mean, there's also the chance of progression, like there being a pan up there that has something, so I don't know. The one problem is we already have half a go mode, so I bet the chances go down quite a bit from that.
Indeed. We do see Khobahi finally getting through that Demist and is about to be rewarded with a power robe. Not all the value he's going to get through that, but wewbear having maybe a slightly easier time, or maybe a slightly less easy time, because he has Bahamut but no Fu. Poidrac, meanwhile, is going through mana ordeals and is getting ready to clear that fight, and keddril is going and doing the Sheila 1 check to see what it gives. Get Cooped asking if Poidrac should kill Cecil. Well, not really. One, these fights are not going to give any experience, and two, even if he did kill off Cecil in these fights, he's going to go and be revived at the end of this as you get healed both as you go into the chamber on ordeals and when you come out of it.
Also, Poidrac has the Excal, so he wants to get EXP on his seat. So
True, he can go straight underground and do some eggs to catch that Cecil up very quickly. And keddril is choosing to go and summon the Lunar Whale quickly.
I kind of like this play by keddril. I mean, you're kind of low on options. I mean, you've got technically the Odin spot. I would probably do Odin spot and Sheila 1 first, but after that, I think I would go Moon. I mean, I need my first place, so I'm going to just go for the value. I
don't disagree with you. A lot of people don't like that Luca key, as we've seen on stream. No one else has gone there. And if he's the first in the moon and finds it, he'll be the first in go. Not to mention these summon standalone monster land of summon monster bosses. Words are hard. Are rather a slog, and just taking even some rather well prepared teams an extraordinarily long time just to get through these fights.
Yeah, I've definitely been on the receiving end of spending a lot of time trying to do a Fey March boss and then not getting value out of it.
Yeah, Khobahi is committed very hard to these Fame Arch bosses, and he is through CPU, so we'll see what we get from that. And Poidrac is checking Sheila 1 now, so we'll see what she gives.
We already saw it was a Gungnir, but keddril is heading to Zot, so no moon dive for us today.
Nope, he's going to see that tower key, and he'll probably go and clear tower as well. And right, Excalibur was from CPU as Poidrac has done that, so not a lot in Fame Arch today. Power Shirt, if Demist has something, then it's a value for Khobahi. If he doesn't have something, then... I mean, Excalibur's nice. It's definitely... You can go and just destroy Zemus with that Visoya and Cecil. But that amount of time, you were probably hoping for a different Holy Sword.
Tarasu pointing out that keddril did not switch his airship, so they're going to have a surprise for them if they ever find the pass.
And this is why I like Tower Key, just so I never have to deal with this. Meanwhile, we see Khobahi is getting the pan from Demist. That's going to go and take him to the Sylphscape, and that's going to give him 2 extra checks on the other runners. We'll see if that goes and gives him value, or is just more of a runaround.
Yeah, I mean, from Khobahi's point of view, this is 3 key items checks. He's still looking for a way to the moon, so the one thing I'm kind of concerned about is looking at our remaining key items. We do not have a lot of progress left. We have Twin Harp and we have Rat Tail that have yet to show up, so Moon is looking pretty sparse as far as potentially having to come back and clear something.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely that Moon would require a return trip, but if it does require a return trip, it's probably not going to be a very long one. And we see Khobahi hitting Yang with his pan to wake him up and see what bright and cheery-eyed Sylph is going to give us as a reward. And it's a Twin Harp, so that's 1 less chain to be on the moon. We'll see if Khobahi decides to do that before he goes to Lukaki.
So we've got this extra pan check. We have the Odin spot check, and then we've got the Twin Harp check. That's the entirety of what's left on Earth unless we find a rat tail.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like Moon is going to be the place to go, and wewbear is going to find his Darkness Crystal quickly and might be going up there very soon. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see what Sheila 2 gives us, and if it's if Moon is bait or if Earth is just a bunch of rabbit holes.
I mean, you have to assume wewbear is going to turn in that D-miss as well after spending all that time on it, so he's probably going to take the pan bait. And here's a rat tail, so man, we're running out of places to check.
Yeah, the Moon is going to go, and wewbear and Khobahi are going to be pretty close. Wewbear having skipped Baron actually is, or skipped Ordeals and Baron. Does seem to be a bit behind Khobahi as he's following in his tail. Well, Khobahi hasn't done Tower, which wewbear spent a lot of time on Valvalis for not a lot of progress.
I don't think Khobahi is going to go to music yet. With Tower still on the line, even after this rat tail, I just don't see the Tower play or the Twin Harp play yet.
I don't know. That it was a long check for him to get that, so he might be more inclined to go and do that.
And we have value. And Leviathan, I mean,
He didn't keep Pridia, so it doesn't even really help him. It's not even like wewbear, if he turns that in, it's going to be even more insulted because he spent so long going and killing Valvalis to get it. This is not really value for either of these runners. So Twin Heart, Odin Spot, or all the rabbit holes have given us absolutely
And
nothing.
Khobahi is making the play. We are going to get to see if there is value at Twin Harp. Of course, there's always value at Twin Harp.
Unless you hate music and fun, in which case there's only discord and misery, and we're going to tell you go home, Dark Elf. Actually, I guess we shouldn't tell you to go home because you're going to kill whoever's in your spot. So wait for it to finish and then go home.
And meanwhile, keddril is checking that nope rope. If he manages to get through this, we're going to know very quickly if Moon is required or not.
Wow, this is getting a bit tense. Very close to seeing how much is left to know or left to do, and if the correct way is to dive Luca and say, nope, Earth is an awful place, I want to go somewhere else. Meanwhile, poidrac is back in the Fame March and is getting ready for his demist fight, so we'll see how that goes for him. He's got Blink on Cecil, and the Excalibur is doing some work for him, but it's a bit less damage than he'd like because demist is resistant to Holy and takes half damage from that Excalibur.
Meanwhile, Khobahi is giving us our music check, so we'll be quiet for just a minute to see how what we get.
I'm glad chat can identify that song because I have a bit of trouble identifying it. But Dear Friends from Final Fantasy V. It's a good song. Meanwhile, keddril has finished off that Nope Noodle and is about to go and see if he's been rewarded or if he's just dived down a terrible rabbit hole.
But at least the rabbit hole will end here. And a Protect Ring, I don't hate it, but we're about to find out if Khobahi is going to get the value or if it's all on the moon today.
That is a bit ugly, I feel.
And the moon has it. We don't know where, but the Legend Sword is somewhere on the moon today.
Better go and get your astronaut certification taken care of because you're all gonna be astronauts today. You also know that the pass is somewhere up on the moon. That's an extra treat. There's a pretty good chance that you're not gonna find that pass to get to before you find your legend sword. So you might be taking a double trip to the moon.
Yeah, and the best news is the magma key is on the moon. I'm sure all of our runners are going to be so ecstatic when they get that.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be so happy. It's like, wow, I am so glad I didn't miss that and had to go through that not so terrible hook route of the Magus sisters. And wewbear he grabbed a cane and he is going to the moon. He's not finishing up the rest of these checks down here. This is the correct play, as everything else on Earth is not progress.
keddril is even a step ahead of him by summoning the lunar well before him, so honestly, depending on what Khobahi does after this is really a race between keddril and wewbear for first.
Yeah, and wewbear has a very nice berserker team with Fu, Cecil, and he did pick up Kane, so he is in that rather good position. And I believe wewbear is at 10 key items, unless I'm miscounting. So wewbear is going to go and get Moon ready very quickly, even with some rather low-level new characters, as he did, or I believe he did ordeal. No, excuse me, he did not do ordeals. That's part of why he probably wanted to get Kane. He wants to go and have a good melee fighter and just start tearing through the...
I must have missed it. Where did wewbear get that sand ruby? Because I see he has it, but no one else has.
I believe it was from the tower key, which...
that would be it, yeah.
Khobahi is the only other person with the tower key, and he is allergic to towers, it seems, after Zot just gave him that key.
And we see keddril going straight for the value. I personally don't like this play. I know that you personally like this play, so I kind of hope it doesn't pay off.
Look, I like to put my faith in Rivers when I know I'm behind and I need to go and get a Hail Mary.
Yeah, but keddril isn't behind right now. He doesn't know it, but he's not that far behind, if at all.
He might feel behind because he's skipped a number of places. He didn't have some of the fastest clears, so maybe he just feels I'm behind. I need to go and check a spot I don't think other people are, or maybe he's going down here to go and grind, wants to see the boss, and will determine if he's going to go and fight this boss while he's here, or if he's going to go and... Nope, he's going to go and see who this boss is, and might go straight for them. Meanwhile, we see wewbear picking up an edge on the moon. I don't think keddril wants to fight this boss.
I mean, this boss is not that bad, because Bahamut's spot isn't that fast. I would probably... There's actually been some pretty unique tech found out pretty recently, namely that Fu could have cast Size on his whole party, and then you wouldn't have to worry about anything, but slow spot, he's going to get Star Bells up on everyone, and it's fine. I would actually be more concerned about not getting enough DPS because the spot's magic and speed is so low.
True. And to me, it just seems slow and annoying because you got the long speech, you have to chew through the health yourself, and yeah, those reflective spells aren't going to hurt you much, but they're not going to hurt Golba as much either, so this is... Meanwhile, we see wewbear doing the classic play, which is going straight down to the bottom of the lunar subterranean, no detours, probably going to go and either go straight to the lunar subterranean, the final save point in the lunar subterranean, or stop just before then to go and kill a few gold dragons and then go to that spot. And Khobahi is turning in his Darkness Crystal while Poidrac is getting his Pan. So Poidrac is still on Earth. He is still going to be going down rabbit holes, unfortunately, it seems.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Poidrac here. It's not looking good for his chances, so...
yeah, this is...
I hate to call it early, but he really needs a first place finish, and it's not looking like a first place finish with what we know.
Yeah, this is... We know this is not the correct way to go, and this is more stuff to keep him on Earth when he needs to get to the moon, which Khobahi is doing, and wewbear is doing his grind on the moon, so... wewbear is probably going to go and be in a very good position unless this Golbez fight gives the Legend Sword. And if that's the case, he's going to go... keddril will be in first place, and Khobahi could go and sneak second if he goes there first. Also, a nice observation, cabins were for sale on the moon, which anyone who skips this shop check is going to have a very unpleasant time, as we didn't find them anywhere on Earth.
It would actually be funny if wewbear hasn't stocked up on cabins or tents, because that's something that sometimes even I will admit to forgetting is, oh, I'm just going to go to the moon. Oh, I don't have any way to restore all of my party. So this just got really awkward.
Yeah, that's especially with Iridia, who's casting Bahamut and slinging it like nothing. That's something you would really rather have her doing all the time rather than not doing. And Khobahi taking a second edge, getting rid of his Sid. That's definitely going to go and be interesting for him, as I don't know if he has that many weapons for edge. As he demonstrates as he goes through his inventory and finds that his edge is going to be using short swords for a while.
Yeah, it's really hard on T3 to take more than one edge just because you usually don't have enough weapons for them.
Yeah, edge requiring, being greedy, requiring 2 weapons is a bit slow. And we see poidrac is turning in his rat and pink tail and getting that Glassa and Leviathan summoned, so seeing he's not getting much rewards here.
Meanwhile, keddril is slowly but surely whittling his way through Golbez. It's kind of a shame he doesn't have an Excal, but looks like he finally gets to fight, so we're going to know if he has value or not.
Indeed, we'll see if he gets value from Gate Bahamut or if he just gets a steaming pile of garbage. And he gets value. Keddril's in go mode.
Well, I mean, sometimes it happens, and I would not be taking first place this race.
Phrased Rivers in his cave of the value. Keddril is on his way to a first place finish. He's got go mode. He has everything he needs. wewbear is going to be going through this lunar subterrane and finding not what he requires. He'll find a pass and not much else.
Which the pass isn't that bad, so really it's going to be interesting to see how Khobahi versus wewbear turns out, because is Khobahi in the LST? Yeah, he should be in the LST too, so
I did not see if Khobahi was in the lunar subterrane. Right, excuse me, he did pick up the second edge. He's in the lunar subterrane, unless he backed out, went to Cape Bahamut when we weren't looking.
Yeah, but keddril will have to make the walk of shame, but he should have a big advantage on everyone else. And technically, poidrac should theoretically have enough time if he decides to go to Luca soon. Also, we're about to get more music, so I'll shut up.
Indeed, unless he gets baited into doing both harp and earth crystal, then he might go and stay on Earth even longer, which we know is not the play. Nick's Panic is asking if you're diving Moon, when would it occur to check Bahamut after diving every single Moon boss? Generally, yes. The lunar subterrane, the bosses down there, you have a cluster of 4 key item checks right at the bottom, 1 more off at Wyvern Spot, and yet another at the top with Pale Dim. There are so many checks down there, it is much higher probability you're going to find what you want there. But sometimes it's in Cave Bahamut. Sometimes it's just a one-off check that you need. Sometimes you want to do that before you get started. It's definitely something. And as we can see, Khobahi is entering into this ribbon spot fight, and that's Mylon and friends. He's just going to go and... Lit 1 is not a terribly threatening spell in a spot that is usually holding dragons who go and either sling viruses at you or go and beat you and throw fire. So this is going to be a pretty free fight for them.
I see the mismenued warp cast on Khobahi's screen, but more importantly, keddril just found ninja swords for sale, protect rings for sale. He is looking pretty good right now. has forgotten that he doesn't have the pass and is going to make a quick walk of shame, but I'm sure he'll remember very shortly that he does not have the pass. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, when you've cleared so much of the seed, it's usually I go to Troya, I go and turn in my pass. Oh, maybe he's just going and doing a bit of shopping and he's picked something up. Silk webs. Very important thing to have. Cast the maximum slow, and if you need one for Zemus, you don't want to go and not have it.
Well, prove me wrong, but you still got your ability to switch the airship, so...
Indeed, you only had to take the walk once instead of... So, wewbear finding a wyvern at a, I believe that was Plague Spot. He's probably going to reset. Nope, he's just deciding, I don't feel like dealing with you today. Goodbye.
There's no shame in that, especially if you don't have a curse ring or something to make things... He's actually grinding more? wewbear, look at your HP, man!
Maybe he wants to be even faster and stronger. And poidrac is going into Zot and is going to find Edge, Sid, and a tower key. More checks on Earth.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm... Wait, did Khobahi just cast Exit?
Khobahi cast exit after finding that pass. Khobahi is getting spicy. Khobahi is checking the first spot, not finding it there, and now going to Cave Bahamut. I don't know if he has ESP. I don't know if he's incredible luck. I don't know if he was inspired by some other idiot who went and did one check in the Lunar Subterranean and said, yep, I'm done. But he is going to Cave Bahamut, and he is going to find his value here if he sticks through this Golbez fight.
I mean, it's not a bad idea because you could have dropped it. He probably dropped a save. I hope he dropped a save, and he would be able to reset out. And knowing how much people do like to just dive into LST or dive into Cave Bahamut, it's not a horrible play.
Yeah, and the more you say that, that's a very heads-up play, actually. That's something where you know it's a check that's pretty quick. You've already hit the highest value spot there in the form of the ribbon spot getting 2 key items. You found a pass. Literally getting a legend sword would go and slingshot you way forward if it's here.
Yeah, and I also expect him to be darting that spoon after a little while. I mean, I don't know. I expect a lot of save scum strats right here. If not, then I'm really concerned about why he came here. Did he even check the leg spot to see the wyvern? Because I would think that I would just be like, you're 1 key item away, just spoon everything.
Maybe he's seeing that pass and getting spooked and thinking, I want to find something. The only things he hasn't found are Magma Key, Sand Ruby, and Legend Sword, and he skipped Tower.
And wewbear found our Magma Key for us.
I'm sure he's feeling so happy at all of these key items he has.
I know that Khobahi beat the D-Lunars. I don't know if he ever... Well, the D-Lunar spot. I don't know if he checked Flex spot.
Yeah, to my knowledge, wewbear is the only one who checked Blake spot. I don't think wewbear checked Ogopogo spot. And he's resetting out and going to Cave Bahamut. What is with these people? Do they have ESP?
I mean... Not even checking the Ogopogo spot, though? I mean...
Not to my knowledge, no. That's, These are some very bold plays. Like, Rivers, I don't know if you installed magnets in Cave Bahamut, but everyone's getting drawn there after some period of time.
But unfortunately, I do think this means that poidrac doesn't really have a chance unless everyone just decides to start wiping like crazy to Zeromus.
Yeah, unfortunately, poidrac he hasn't checked Luca, he hasn't found his darkness. He's just clearing Zot and is going to be rewarded with a tower key. It's not looking good for poidrac.
I'm also kind of interested for keddril here because if Khobahi gets through this fight pretty soon, he kind of has the levels. His edges and his Cecil have enough HP. His Fu has enough HP. He could buy a Protect Ring for Fu to be extra safe. I think he could make that dive.
He can buy ninja swords as well, and he has 2 edges. That's pretty big for him, I think. That's going to go and make his party really nice.
To answer a question in chat of when you should just try jumping in and try speedruns, I personally would say you would probably want to play the game 2 or 3 times before trying to get even a little bit competitive and learning a route. The games kind of lose a lot of their depth when, even for speedrunning like a randomizer, just playing a few seeds first and getting a feel for everything makes getting into the races a little bit better.
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to point out as someone who did not get into this intending to speedrun or race at all, I played a lot of seeds where you see the flags listed up beneath the names. That's just one way to go and play this. You can adjust the treasures so that each chest have more better loot. You can adjust the chests so that they're not randomized at all, adjust the contents shuffled around. You can adjust the chests that they have nothing. There are a lot of ways to go and play this. This is, again, just one way to play. I highly encourage anyone who sees this like, this looks interesting, but I don't know if I can get through this. Play on easier flags. Have fun. I think everyone's first seed should be T4 because you can go and get so many fun presents in there, and it's just always a joy to see what stupid, sillily powerful item you're going to find in the next box.
But yeah, this is going to be a close race between keddril and Khobahi, and keddril really needs this first place, but I think he's trying to grind up to nuke on Rydia, and that's only one more fight, but it's going to put him and Khobahi in the fight at almost the exact same time, and I think Khobahi has the better DPS, honestly.
Yeah, I think without those animations for nuke and having 2 edges going and just swinging ninja swords and just being well geared and Excalibur Cecil, he is really going to go and just destroy Zeromus pretty well. Meanwhile, wewbear has gotten his legend sword. He's in go mode. This race is by no means over, but keddril is done. He's walking down to the bottom of the lunar subterranean. I think we're gonna have 3 runners in the fight at the same time, and it's going to be pretty close for all of them as to when they finish.
Yeah, honestly, now that I see that keddril is still not even at the bottom of the LST, I'm gonna have to give the advantage to Khobahi. This is probably his race to lose at this point.
Indeed, though he does not really have a great anchor for this, but I don't think he's going to be too concerned unless he leaves that Fu in the middle. I don't like that Fu in the middle. That's not a great anchor. 20 agility is pretty hard. But
It's a little bit bad, but he has enough Zerkers where I don't think it matters. I think with 2 edges and a Cecil Zerk, I think it's just fine.
True. And while we're heading to the fight, I believe we have one other question, very important question to ask tonight.
Yes. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Indeed, because while we don't go and add Zeromus to the normal boss pool, we do go and like to give him a little bit of a makeover so that he's not quite as vanilla and boring. So get your Z flags out in chat as we find out whose butt we're kicking tonight.
Any suggestions on what you would like this boss to be, Baka?
I am a big fan of Zero Word.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't know. I feel like maybe 101 Dalmatians or something. That would be fun.
There's no wrong choices, just other great ones. Meanwhile, I believe wewbear actually skipped checking the shop, just not seeing those protect rings or those power staffs, and he does not have he has Nuke on Rydia, but he doesn't have Fusoya, so he might be in a slightly different position.
We've got more Final Fantasy IX. Oh wait, Final Fantasy IX was the Hummingway match I just watched. Never mind.
And Simbu is demonstrating the dangers of going and mixing seeds, doing too many seeds at once.
I'm sorry, I had a song from Final Fantasy IX in my last seed, but yeah. Still, we see a lot of wines coming out for Khobahi. We see wewbear trying to close in right at the same time as keddril. This is going to be a pretty close end. Unfortunately, poidrac is getting rabbit holed.
Yeah, poidrac is full clearing Earth and getting everything done. It's an hour 33. He hasn't seen it, and he still hasn't found darkness. This is very unfortunate for poidrac. To answer the question from Shadow Meadow, no, this is just a reskin for Zeromus. It's still the same script, same use Big Bangs, Shake, Big Bangs, Black Hole, all the fun stuff. We just like to go and give them a bit of a makeover. Yes, this is Khobahi is just sitting there, letting Fu sit at a very comfortable 2000 HP. He could get high rolled, but he does have 3 Berserkers who are well over that 2000 HP mark. He should be pretty safe to go and get through this fight, unless he takes a very unlucky Big Bang into Meteor phase. And
he's getting 9 or 10,000 damage around. He's going to just eat through this Zeromus. This is what happens when you Q-jam with a bunch of Berserkers. Expect to see a flash, maybe even before a shake or a meteor.
Indeed. Meanwhile, we see keddril's in the fight. His Rydia went down, and after getting an errant nuke to the face, meanwhile, wewbear is going and having his Forum reflect whites and his Rydia reflect nukes. This is going to go and be pretty close between them, and I think they're fair ways behind Khobahi, who is just poor Zeromus. He might have shaken once, but this is his second Big Bang, and I think he's taking a lot more than 20 or 30,000 damage at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at the levels between keddril and wewbear, and first off, GG's to Khobahi. We have our flash, and I'm a little bit concerned for wewbear. His HP levels are just a little bit on the low side.
Indeed. wewbear Forum is dangerous to take in here. And we are joined by Khobahi, who finished in first place with the official SRL time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 59 seconds. GG Khobahi, how did you feel?
I thought I was going to lose very badly.
What makes you say that?
I felt like I took a lot of time to do some things on the Earth, and then I got to the Moon. I feel really late. That's why when I got the pass out of the lunar spot, I decided to go for the earlier checks. So like Bahamut Cave, and I was going to go right into Pale Dim after that.
Yeah, I was curious about that. As you exited out, you found that item, exited out, and then went to Cave Bahamut. Did you even check Plague Spot?
No.
Would you like to know who was at Plague Spot?
Sure.
It was a wyvern.
Oh, good.
I can't tell you what he gave because no one stuck around to figure that out.
Yeah, I did not have pursuing.
We did see all the key items that seed, so it was not something important.
was about to say, I think I have all but 2 of them.
Yes, you missed. Tower would give you a Bahamut summon and a Sand Ruby from the Tower Key, and Wyvern Spot would give you the Magma Key.
Wait, did the very top of Tower give you the Sand Ruby? Because that's just mean if it did.
No, the Tower Key itself gave the Sand Ruby. The very top of Tower, Val gave Bahamut.
That's why it was mean, because Cade was in bed.
This was definitely a seed. How did you feel about those Lenda Summon monster bosses?
That's one of the reasons I felt a little behind. Like, I saw I could take them, but, like, even that Demus fight took forever, which really made me feel behind. And then when I eventually did basically the Luca Cave and got the Darkness Crystal, I was thinking, and it was Yang, I'm like, oh no, this was so free. So that's what I felt behind, and I figured someone was going to finish anytime.
Yeah, honestly, you were a little bit behind because you full cleared the overworld before attempting that hook route, and everyone else was ahead by quite a big margin, but everyone else just kept on taking all of the fights in the underground, and they lost a lot of their advantage. I know that wewbear went up and fought the Val, and that took a long time. Keddril he had a foo, but he didn't have an edge until much later in the seed, so he wasn't able to get through a lot of the stuff early. I don't know if he ever even got his X-Cal for Cecil, but yeah, it's just you were behind, and then you gradually pulled up, and then you had absolutely everything done, and everyone else was except for Tower, and everyone else was running up the Luca Cave trying to get ahead of you, but you pulled it out and get your first place.
Yeah, I was really looking for that Sand Ruby to try to do Tower, because I knew Val was up there from going to the hook. I just didn't really want to deal with her if I didn't have to.
Yeah. So the question that me and Baka both have to know is, are you going to throw your match next week to join us at 12 points?
Oh, so I can be mathematically Simbu?
Well, I mean, if
Join
you want
us.
to.
It's a great place.
We'll see. I probably won't actually throw it. I'll probably just play it normally and see what happens, so.
That's still congratulations on your first place finish. That was a very bold play you made at the end, and that paid off magnificently.
Yeah, I'm happy it worked out. Otherwise, I would have been probably still clearing somewhere, and it would have been on Ogopogo instead.
Ironically, no one checked Ogopogo spot.
Oh, I meant actual Ogopogo and Odin spot.
Yes, that had a protect ring. Someone else checked that for you.
Oh, good.
That's me.
Meanwhile, we have both Keddril and wewbear finishing. GG's to both of them, and I think we are joined by Keddril?
Yep. Hello.
GG's on your second place. How do you feel about this?
Pretty good. I was pretty surprised by it. I spent a lot of time trying to think about where to go and kind of fiddling around on the map, and I almost got sucked back into the Lana Summon Monsters. I was gonna dive down there before I went to the moon just to double check, but I'm glad I didn't. And then also a seed previously, Bahamut Cave had the thing, and I was like, I'm just gonna risk it this time and go straight there.
Yes, we're all praising your devotion to the value of Cave Bahamut, and
Yeah,
you
I had to go
rewarded
there right
for it.
away.
You ended up being the first person in go mode, but you ended up khobahi ended up passing you because he already had levels he needed. He did some grinding in the lunar subterranean, found a pass which allowed him to go and get. You should see his play at that. It was a very interesting thing to see, nonetheless. But how did you feel about skipping what you skipped on Earth?
What did I end up skipping? Tower.
Towers. Za, I believe you skipped as well.
Yeah. No, I went to Zod. I did the Earth Crystal.
Okay, you got the tower key and the edge and Sid there.
Yes, so I got the tower key, but I had already done a lot of the stuff underground, and I had the Luca key already in my accessories, so I decided that I should finish the Luca chain first to see what that gives, and that gave the darkness, so then I just took the chance that nothing else of value is going to be in the underworld, so ditched out from there.
Yeah, the underground demist gave the pan, which led to Twin Harp, and the rat tail, and the rat tail gave an illustrious glass hat, so you dodged that one pretty well.
Phew, yeah.
CPU actually held an Excalibur, so if you slogged through that, you were rewarded with a weapon for your Cecil.
Yeah. I had gone into CPU before I had gotten Cecil, just with Edward and Sid, and my damage just wasn't there. I tried doing the reflect onto the attack core, but it missed, so I just reset.
Yeah, you're not the only one who's not had a lot of great luck with that strat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 50-50. It's not a 50-50. At best, it's a 10-90.
Oh, great. Yeah, I tried, and then I was like, nope, this is gonna waste way too much time.
Yeah, I don't get it. Every time I try to reflect nukes, it hits the attacker. Every time I try to reflect flow, it hits the CPU. It's like, what is this?
It's rigged.
How did you go and feel about the start you had? That was definitely tepid, starting with a Edward and a Porum.
Yeah, I found a samurai bow and a heroine robe really early, I think in Troya, so that at least cleared her up for some damage. And then where I went to Ordeals pretty early, which gave me Baron, which then led to Fusoya, and after that I was like, well, everything's open now.
Yeah, that definitely opened some things up in the seed. Speaking of Fusoya and Baron, wewbear, how do you feel about not doing Ordeals for so long, or skipping it entirely, not finding the Baron key, and then never getting the Fusoya who is sitting in Baron?
I feel good. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. I feel all right, I guess. I didn't know until just now, so I need to process my emotions, I suppose, for a few days. And
yeah, that was a very close race. You and keddril were neck and neck going into that Z fight. Not even a minute between you two. Congratulations on the third place finish.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're asking keddril about his feelings on the beginning of the seed. What are your feelings on that the start of that seed?
I'll be honest. I don't remember much of it. I'll be completely honest.
It's all a blur into the last few minutes of.
Pretty much. I don't know. I don't think there's anything like crazy difficult. Yeah, I looted a bit more than I maybe needed to. I was like, oh, my inventory is full already, and I was like, that's cool. But yeah, other than that, and it seemed pretty. I was like, I really don't want to do Ordeals, and then I went underground, and I saw Cease, and I'm like, I still really don't want to do Ordeals.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because poidrac was the first person to dive Hook, but they hadn't done Earth Crystal yet even, so they were just going down there after actually clearing out a chest in Avalon Castle. And then you had done Earth Crystal, so you had an edge with a Mute Dagger. And so throughout the process, you slowly overtook him and managed to get through the Mega Sisters first. And then you two were in the underground first, but then khobahi, who did both Earth Crystal and Baron Key, just started catching up and just started slaughtering everything because he had his edge, he had his foo, he had everything. keddril had his foo, obviously, and it's just he slowly started catching up, and then he made the power play, same as you did, wewbear. He actually made it before you, though. He did the D-Lunar spot and then immediately exited out and went to Cave Bahamut. So he had the pass, and I guess he thought he was behind, so he went to Cave Bahamut and found the Legend Sword. You did the same thing, but you also checked the wyvern spot, so just slightly slowed you down a little bit. Otherwise, you would probably have taken keddril this match.
I did plague as well, but I mean that's fair enough. Like there's Galaxy Brace plays and there's that doing D-Linners and just boom, going to Bahamut now. But yeah, like I would have done Bahamut spot first because I didn't have cabins at the time, but then unfortunately the shop on the moon was like, here's cabins, and I was like, cool, I guess I'll go to the bottom. So that was unfortunate. I was planning on doing Bahamut first just because I didn't have cabins, but that kind of got turned around.
Did you actually do plague? Because I thought you noped out the wyvern there.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was wyvern. I was like, no, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, then I went up to check wyvern spot, and that was pretty easy. And yeah, I didn't really have any good weapons by the end. Like I kind of had Rydia carry me with Bahamut for a while, and then I was like, oh, I have no more steam left for.
Yeah, something that you missed that Khobahi took a big advantage of is Coco actually had ninja swords for sale and protect rings. Really nice stuff for a Zemus fight.
Oh, and the forge?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. At that point, I figured because I did bottom up on the moon. I mean, I should have checked. I always check, but whatever. I did bottom up on the moon, so I figured, okay, someone probably did top down, so they might be headed there. So I was like just trying to get to Zemus as quickly as I could. But yeah, I probably I don't know. The protector rings I don't think mattered at all. The ninja blade maybe it would have changed my mute dagger, but I don't think it would have. Maybe I could have took second. I only lost by 40 seconds. A bigger one was I had heroin robe on still by accident from the Golbez fight, so my Porn was doing no damage with whites. That might have got me second.
Yeah, it was definitely a close race. One thing that I should probably mention, since we have all the statistics now, with this race, this brings Khobahi up to 11 points with one more race to go. It brings you up to 13 points with completely finished, so you're tied with Dusty. And then we also have keddril sitting at 8 points, which is probably just a little bit too low for the cut-in. It's the play-ins, it's probably looking like 8's not going to get it done. And then, unfortunately, poidrac is going to be only getting 1 point, so we'll be setting at 7 and definitely out of the play-ins.
So you're saying I'm mathematically not Simbu?
You have more points than me, so...
By 1 point.
You're mathematically, I guess not even mathematically Dusty, because you got 2 first places instead of 1 first place and then second.
Yeah, he's nothing if not consistent. I'm kind of all over the place a bit, but yeah. No, I mean, you can't really get upset for losing that close of a race. It looked crazy close, according to race. Yeah, I'm happy. 13 points.
Watching all the clears on Earth and seeing across every runner, every spot on Earth being cleared, and it's slowly coming down to it not being on Earth. It's just you have to go to Moon to go and find the last part of your crystal.
Yeah, everything was pointless other than Dwarf Castle. I mean, obviously like Darkness, but Dwarf Castle and Bahamut was fine. Like all the rabbit holes for the most part were besides Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, that's a good point. You literally had the fights you had to do on Earth were, in all honesty, Hook was from Fabul, unless I'm mistaken, and then you had to go and do the Mom Bomb fight at King Queen Evelyn, the Magus Sisters fight at Rubicant. You got the Luca Key for free in Feymarch. You had to do the free King Queen Evelyn fight in Dwarf Castle, the Dark Knight Cecil fight in Dwarf Castle, and then the Young fight, and then you were free and clear of everything else on Earth.
Yep, that was that.
That is quite the seed. And what's also more impressive, literally every single rabbit hole you could fall into was still on Earth.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive watching how all of the progression items showed up on Earth, and it's like, oh, the moon has the magma key and the legend sword.
And the pass. That's,
and the pass, yeah. What more do you want, really?
The pass is not a key item. We all know that.
Yeah, but it's 2 minutes of time, so...
Didn't seem like there was any, like, crazy long rabbit holes either. Just kind of, like, one led to one, and, like, that was kind of a dud. there might have been like a chain of like 2.
Mr.
Miss Dragon into Rat Tail into Twin Harp, was it?
I think it was Pan. I think Twin Harp came from the
Pan. Yeah.
And Twin Harp came from Sheila 2. So they're both just very short rabbit holes no matter what. Either way, do any of the runners have some final thoughts on the seed? This has definitely been... It was definitely a strange...
All I know is I made the Galaxy Bird play and it paid off.
I'd say so. That's crazy. You know what? D-Lunar's one boss down. I'm good. I'm gonna go over to Bahamut, and not just the Bahamut, but then also like, oh, it's Golbez. Like, I'll do you, sure.
I thought I was gonna lose. Because I spent all that time on Oath and then doing Miss Dragon and CPU that I threw a
No, I get it. It's cool. That is some plays.
We do have a question in chat for you, wewbear. Zilch is asking, did you ever turn in the pan?
It's none of Zilch's business. Just leave it at that. No, I actually, because I left Underground and I was like, okay, I got something to do up here, so I went and I just kind of cruise controlled and I went to Demus to check that. And I was like, okay, my check up here is done, so I left. And then I get to the moon and I check the shop and I look at my inventory. I'm like, why is there a pan here? What is this mission? Honestly, that's half the reason I was leaving Moon too, because I exited out after I did Wyvern. I was like, okay, I'll go check Pan just in case, because there's no .duns at that point. And I was like, whatever, I'll just go check Bahamut first, and that kind of led to that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was this whole seed was rather trolly for all of you.
Yep, and I went through all that effort to get the Pan from Demus, and then like went and whacked Yang, and I just didn't turn that in.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised because keddril actually did Zot after going underground, so he had his Falcon sitting there in Toria, and he started going there, and it's like, he doesn't have the pass. Why is he going to Toria?
Oh, he thought he had pass.
And then he went there for Silk Whips, and it's like, well, heads up play, but you gotta get trolled by your...
Yeah, that wasn't great. The reason I went to get the Silk Webs is because last race on Monday, I'm not used to Battle Speed 3, so I just, like, once he transformed and the name changed, I was just like, Silk Web, and it missed, and I was like, oh dang. So I only had one, so I wanted to buy a new stack just to...
Yeah,
I don't feel bad. Like, that's why before I went in Zemus, I checked my inventory. I was like, okay, I have Crystal. Okay, I'm good. I forgot it the other game.
Oof. I did do the Walk of Shame. That's not a lie. In both regards, I walked down the Z2.
Yeah, we were mentioning that you have the short Walk of Shame to Troya to go and deal with being blocked by your Falcon, and then the long Walk of Shame because you never went into the Lunar Subterrane to find that pass that was in the ever popular D-Lunar spot.
Mm.
Oh, congratulations to all. That was an excellently played match, as we can see less than 5 minutes between first and third. That was a lot of gutsy plays that paid off. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you, and thanks for commentating into the Restream team.
Indeed.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Hopefully you guys were nice to me. I'll be watching to make sure.
I'm sure you'll have a great match for you.
Nah, it's all good. All right, yeah, but thanks for the commentary and the Restream, everyone.
Thanks.
And from the looks of it, we've got poidrac trying to finish up this seed, probably about to find Wyvern, that's for certain, and might be a while before he takes a gander at that Bahamut spot.
Yeah, poor Poidrac is unfortunately getting all just unlucky going to all the wrong places. This happens sometimes, but it's...
doesn't have Starvells, it looks like. Still survives the Mega Nuke, but This is kind of interesting. No Starvels when you've got a Rydia and a Fu is not a good thing for a Z-fight.
No, particularly when it looks like his Rydia is well over the HP required to go and get Nuke.
Yeah, usually that's around 1670, I think, is usually about what she ends up at.
Yeah, I think we saw both keddril and wewbear had their Rydias around 1700 HP, so his Rydia is a bit beyond even that. So, Wyvern showing that low magic. Someone dodged a nuke. We don't get to see who, but we get to know that they dodged it and didn't take any damage from it.
Question in chat about how long it will take poidrac to finish. Poidrac has the levels. It just depends on which spot he checks. If he gets the pass and then immediately goes to Bahamut like a certain other runner, then probably about 15 minutes, depending. And then on the other hand, if he full clears the moon, you're looking upwards of 25-30 minutes.
Yeah, he's going to go and be hitting. He's likely to hit every spot in the game, unfortunately, because when you're at this point, you want to go and just clear everything. He might go and skip the pale dim spot at the top of the moon, but he might go and leave early, actually, because I don't think he has many extra cabins. Also, to answer a question from chat, is everyone else finished, or does he not know? He is aware. He can go and see in the SRL channel that the other 3 racers have not done. But what he doesn't know is where it is. It's very hard to go in metagame when you go and see darkness this late and you don't know if everyone else has been going in, because he's cleared literally everything on Earth. There is nothing on Earth he has not done. He knows he's lost a lot of time to that, and he knows that someone could have come here, skipped any number of those spots, found the Darkness Crystal anywhere up here, and be done in the time that Khobahi, keddril, and wewbear have. And because they're all so close and clustered, he may be thinking that they're in the lunar subterranean because this is where everyone goes. It's rather rare to go and have people go and hit that Cape Bahamut before clearing this set of locations. The fact that 3 runners did it without going, 1 without even clearing any bosses in the lunar subterranean, 2 partially clearing the lunar subterranean and then leaving, is it's very unusual and very hard to go and glean information from that.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, especially a 4-minute spread is pretty close. It's just really hard to say because, I mean, he got rabbit holed really hard and there were some nasty bosses. The 1:35 finish time a good runner can go anywhere in 1 hour and 35 minutes. So it's not really guaranteed that you can metagame anything except that it's probably not on Earth, since he's checked so much and has not gotten any value from it.
Yeah, I believe poidrac has in fact 100% cleared everything on Earth, so he knows for certain it's not there, and everything else is just, where is it up here? And he's finding the Drain Spear. If you're a Swimming Leone sub, get your Drain Spear hype out in chat, and he's resetting because he only has 1 cabin and doesn't want to go into the next fight with people dead and needing to recover.
But yeah, he's going to quickly melt this Wyvern spot, and then it's a 50-50 on if he does Peldom or Cave Bahamut first.
Yeah, this is poidrac is not going to be long in the seed. He's very good. He's just there are 28 spots to clear and to go and give key items in these types of seeds, and he has currently cleared 25 of them, about to be 26. It is very hard to be any runner in this race in this tournament hitting so many of those spots. We have keddril who went and skipped out on a number, wewbear skipped out on some of his, khobahi skipped out on a number. It's unfortunately, you make your best calls, and your best calls just turn out to be the wrong calls sometime. And while we see poidrac go and take his frustrations out on these bosses on the moon, I would like to go and thank our restreamer Tarasu and our tracker Paranoia for both their help on keeping this restream, and thank my co-commentator Simbu as well.
Yeah, shout outs to all of the restream crew and also to all of our runners. They did a fantastic job on the seed, and poidrac will not be long to finish this out.
No, we already see him getting through this fight in under a minute, or looks like, and he's finding that magma key, the last key item he could possibly find, and he's just got one more, and this is 2 checks left. It's a coin toss as to whether or not he goes to the correct one.
But he's had bad luck all seed. I don't think it's going to change now. And that's commentator's curse for you.
Simbu, he's had a hard enough night already. Did you have to make it worse for him? Did you need to curse him? Did you need to send him back into the lunar subterranean to go and show us the paladin spot for our amusement?
Yes.
I'd call you evil, but I'd do the same. This was poidrac got into bad luck because while Barren Castle and Earth both led to things that were not required, with Zot giving a tower key that led to Lysandra Ruby, and Barren Castle giving a Leviathan summon, I believe. Or no, I can't. No, that was from somewhere else. Excuse me.
That was the pink tail, wasn't it? Just a protect ring. But the more important things are the edge and the food that came from there. And the bad thing is, poidrac cleared them anyways. It's just that he cleared them afterwards. So, unfortunately, that's kind of the wrong way you want to do it. You want to get the easy stuff that gives you very quick and powerful things out early. And unfortunately, today he gambled on this being a quick seed, and then he just couldn't find darkness, and everywhere he looked through was not darkness, and this is the result.
Yeah, he unfortunately again just went to the wrong locations in the wrong order and didn't get rewarded for his checks. And we're about to go and see what this dark elf was guarding in the paladin spot, as we know it's not the legend sword, but it's going to be a Masamune. Well, that's not quite the thing you're supposed to find in this spot, but it's pretty close.
French vanilla.
And when poidrac gets to Zeromus is going to have as bad of a day as poidrac has had in the seed.
That's a pretty safe assumption.
Yeah, but those the Masamune Murasame, which it's very rare to have a seed where you find both an edge and good enough swords to make him useful, and the seed technically having 2 of them, and then going in to being able to put them together, he's at least going to have fun carving up Zeromus and probably Golbez, though he still doesn't have Starvels. I believe Starvels are for sale in the Moon Shop, so maybe if he goes there, he might go and pick them up and make things a little easier for himself.
If I was in poidrac's shoes, I don't know if I would even care. He's gonna try this Golbez, but like I would be a little bit fed up right now. I would just say Bacchus. I'll just direct cast nukes. I don't need to reflect them.
You damage race me, I damage race you, we'll see who comes out on top.
And with a 4000 HP Cecil, it's gonna be quite the race.
Particularly since he's got a protect ring on someone, and that's going to go in half the damage of his elemental spell.
I mean, even the lit 3 is barely enough to, like, it could kill a weakened party member, but it's not going to kill anyone else. And if he wants to, he can just cast wall manually with Fu. I mean, this Golbez is going to die.
Yeah, and I believe Rydia is going to have a tiara. She's going to go and just be able to tank any match that comes to him for a while.
I know Fu has Sorcerer's Roll-On, so that's half damage from lightning spells. And that is a Zerk Cecil with a Holy Sword, so night-night Golbez.
The little brother is beating up the big brother today.
And Bahamut wants his cape back.
Apparently Golbez is behind in his rent. Fu has just had enough of this young upstart. You know, he's a Lunarian. He doesn't really need... He's his elder. Why is he not going and just giving him what he wants?
Yep, so now it's just a question of how does Poidrac want to slice up his Romus today?
I got a feeling he's going to go for a hybrid strat. Just throw all the spells at him, throw everything at Zeromus, and just beat Zeromus until he cries out of whatever tears he has. Whatever eyes that Eldritch Horror from beyond the veil of time and space has. To the answer question from chat, clearly the answer is stilts.
I mean, maybe that's why he teleports everywhere, because he's really good at just teleporting into castles and stuff like that.
Showing up dramatically with his cape. I mean, he even has a hand that comes off. He might not even really be a person. He might just simply be like a little hamster going and operating a marionette.
Sounds about right.
And that's why he's just jealous of Cecil. He's got like the full body, the full hair, the really, really nice hair actually. For someone who wears a helmet all the time, his hair is not that bad looking.
And Poidrac being the only person who does not need those ninja swords.
No, being the only person who didn't take 2 edges and has better ninja swords. That is definitely something for him. Where this is going.
I think we're going to have a lot of wine tonight.
Someone's looking to blow off steam.
Well, I have to say this is probably one of my favorite ways to slice and dice Zeromus.
Yeah, and Angry Rydia is definitely even though she has nukes, she's not interested in throwing spells. She's interested in going and throwing lashes.
Now, the real question is if Poidrac is going to also berserk that Fu, and I say he should.
He's angry. He can go and have the angry drunk uncle go and throw some hits with his rod. Or staff. I guess he still has his lunar staff. Or the life staff. He's got a lot of weapons to choose from at this point. But here we are, Poidrac going and entering the Zeromus fight, getting ready to go and teach that stupid marble who's boss.
So, Baka, anything you want to say about the league standings right now?
I think after tonight, we have one more person in the running to go and be mathematically Simbu, and I believe I got spoiled that there was another person who is mathematically Simbu.
Yeah, I saw something about Inven supposedly taking a win tonight, so I think he was really glad for that.
I, for one, are happy to have more people coming into this mathematically Simbu club, which I am a proud member of. I'm curious as to how many people we have with 2 wins, 1 second place, and 1 last place, putting them at 12 points, which definitely not the average number of points, but very unusual. And to answer Maggie the Cat, literally every single rabbit hole was on Earth, and Poidrac unfortunately fell into all of them. There were 3 things to find on the Moon of Value: the Legend Sword, the Magma Key, and the Pass. And it was also a hook seed as well, which Poidrac went into very early, so that slowed him down. And then there were 2 very rude bosses in Feymarch that slowed people down a lot more as well.
Yeah, CPU at Ashura spot and Demus at Leviathan spot. I mean, about as slow as you can get. Also, the Valvalas at the top of the tower that no one was equipped to take care of. I mean, you had some slow stuff. All you had to do was take your free Luca key and just go to take a pretty free fight.
It's only free if you did ordeals, which wewbear didn't, but everyone else did, so it was definitely...
Even if you don't do ordeals, it's pretty free because the physical attack there is complete garbage.
True. It wasn't a very intimidating thing. It was just no one really wanted to go into Luca Cave very soon.
But yeah, as someone pointed out in the chat like an hour ago, based on my simulations, the moon has value approximately 75-ish% of the time. So, it just happens when you can't find darkness that you get stuck here on the earth and you can't do anything.
Yeah, and all those checks look like, well, this could be the better check than Luca Key because it's a long walk in, and if it's not anything, even if it is something, it's still an annoying walk out. But we see.
Oh, here comes the Artemis bow. Yes, Poidrac, you know you want to. You need to do it now, Poidrac, otherwise you're not going to have enough time to Zerk. Oh, he didn't put on the Artemis. Oh, I think there he goes. Now just use the botanist. There you go, Poidrac. There you go.
Behold Team Angry. It's been 2 hours coming, Osmus, but this is going to be a whipping you're not going to forget.
So, do we think that we're even going to see another Big Bang from Osmus?
He's getting, what, a bit over 10,000 damage around? 10 to 11?
I think it might be closer to 12. I mean, we're getting 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 to 3, so it's quite a bit of damage. That's definitely a fact.
No second Big Bang. You called it, Simbu.
I'm just sad that there were actually rocks, too.
I'm just happy it wasn't rocks. It wasn't Big Bang into rocks.
Cecil has enough HP to take them both.
Indeed, and poidrac is finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 25 seconds after literally clearing every single key item spot in the seed. The only things he didn't do were fight the bosses in the Giant, Mist Cave, Watery Pass, and Kaipo Inn.
And it sounds like we might be joined by Poidrac. GG's Poidrac. How did that sea feel to you?
A lot better at the start than it did at the end. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
How did that sea feel to you?
I knew they were in the places they were, because of the way the seed was playing out, with the way things. It's just the nagging feeling I had that I knew the Darkness Crystal was going to be in Luca. I knew that the Legend was going to be in Bahamut spot, because that's the way my luck's been on these things. It's just not played out at all how I wanted it to.
Yeah, we were commenting that, we figured you'd be expecting that because we had so many tightly clustered finishes that other people, would be in the lunar subterranean, because that's in general, the correct place to go. It has the most checks. It's where value is usually. There is just a lot to go and get there. And one person dove Cave Bahamut, one person cleared Ribbon spot and then went to Bahamut, one person cleared Ribbon, skipped Wyvern, cleared Wyvern spot, and then went to Bahamut. It was not one of those things you can go and say, yes, this is clearly a predictable order.
Yeah. It's been the story of my tournament. I've been either close, but because of a couple of silly mistakes on my part, that I haven't it hasn't quite fit. I haven't got the places I wanted, and it's all this where I'm just going completely the wrong directions. I'm happy with every boss that I fought. I'm happy with the way I played the seed. It's just nothing lined up for me today.
Yeah, I definitely noticed you were taking what I would consider some pretty big gambles. I know that you took an early fight in Eblon Castle and then went straight into that hook, and for a while there it was like, oh, he's actually going to get a lead on everyone. And then we found a Fu in Baron Castle, and we found a Edge in Zot, and everyone was able to start closing in. I think wewbear had even surpassed you because his Mute Dagger Edge was just doing so much damage going into the underground. And then again, we kind of squared up, and you decided to commit to some of those Feymarch bosses, and we had keddril come in with his Fu and even nope out of the CPU fight because his float didn't land on it. And just everywhere you went, there wasn't really value. And sometimes the rando does that to you. It's really frustrating, but unfortunately, that's just the way rando sometimes happens.
Yeah, it is. As I said, I'm happy with every play I made. Yes, I did take the gambles because I knew that with the way the points had landed for me, I had to have a win. So I had to take those gambles. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, the seed was every single rabbit hole on Earth leading to nothing was just, it was not kind.
In the end, I just very early, as soon as the dot duns come in, I just sat back and just thought, okay, let's just get to the end of this. I knew exactly what I was going to do with my team. Yes, I planned and Berserker ready from that very point, because I had that Heroine Robe and Dragon Whip, and that Fu Berserk at the end. That was planned then as well, because I just wanted to just let the game play itself. I just wanted to calm myself, and the game playing itself was the best way of doing it.
Yeah, that was definitely an amusing finish. We were all cheering for that. It was it seemed fitting to go and just kick back, get a few drinks, get your anger out, and teach that marble who's the boss. Who's the boss?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Do you have
well.
any? Yeah. This is. I understand. Do you have any final thoughts, or you want to just?
That is pretty much that's the limit of it. I want to do want to shout out all the organisers of the tournament, all the runners, all the people who've volunteered. They've all done an amazing job, and I hope to see them continue that throughout the rest of the tournament. I hope to be a part of it as well. So have a good evening, everyone, and GG to everyone as well.
Thank you. GG as well. Well played tonight.
Yeah, just to reiterate what poidrac just said. GG to all of our runners, and great job by all of our commentary crew. I believe we've been told that we're going to be rating Randomania after this. So, any last thoughts, Baka?
This was definitely a C. There's so much tension watching everyone go all over the place on Earth, seeing what was there, and it's slowly coming down to it being on the moon. And it was an exciting scene to watch. I was glad to go and commentate it with you.
Yeah, I definitely felt like the runners were experiencing the pressure. We're getting down to, I think there's only 3 races left, so the points are up there. Everyone sees the writing on the wall, and everyone is doing everything they can to get that first place. And you see a lot of plays you don't normally see. But again, great to commentate with you. And with that, we're going to take our raid.
Have a nice evening. And if you want to see another race, there'll be one either here or Free Enterprise. I just need to go and double check the correct location. The next race will be on Free Enterprise Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, same time as this race.
Grade slowly, go to the hand axe next.